my camera to focus. It's so bright now. But hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. This is called Blackboard Ultra, all about assignments. So our session goal today is really to dig deeper into using Blackboard assignments. We'll also share some best practices with everyone here. Next, we'll go over assignments, different types and examples. So we'll do some live walkthroughs on our end so we can show you in real time. We'll also talk about grading options that includes anonymous and peer review, as well as feedback and SafeAssign. Last but not least, we will go over our closing, next steps, and Q&A. So my name is David Serna. I'm also joined by my fabulous colleague, Fatma. Thank you so much, Fatma. And let's get started. So first, we'll go over the different assessment types in Blackboard Ultra. Last week, we went all over tests. And today we will go over assessments. So if you look right here, whenever you're creating a new item, you can include course content or assessments. Right here under assessment, we will focus on assignments. Right? Any questions so far? Okay, great, Helene, thank you so much for joining us as well. Right?
Happy to be here.
Nice to see you yesterday at the soft opening. Right?
Same.
Yes. So let's first go over collecting submissions. Now, you may have seen this option to collect submissions offline. This does not require a student to upload their work online through Blackboard. The grades are still viewed online. You still do everything with your gradebook as usual, but collecting submissions offline allows for some more flexibility here. So here are some examples of some assignments that you can collect offline. So in person, for example, these can be oral presentations, science fair projects, acting performances if you're part of theater, artwork that's delivered in person, face-to-face team building exercises, panel discussions, and debates. So when you look at the gear icon under settings, when you're setting up, right here, you'll see a little checkbox that says collect submissions offline. The student view will look like this. On the screen, it says offline submission. You chose to collect submissions offline for this assessment or this assignment. So let's say that I'm an art instructor and I want to collect the artwork in person offline. I can choose this option to collect those submissions. Right? Any questions or comments about this feature? Okay, great. So if you do have any questions, you can let me know in the chat box or just unmute. I would be happy to answer those. So let's talk about anonymous grading and peer review. These are really ways you can remove bias in terms of grading. So first, I will talk about anonymous grading, what that is, and how to set that up. So let me go ahead and share my screen with everyone here. So this may look familiar to you, right? So you have this content screen as your instructor. If we want to create content or an assignment with anonymous grading, let's go over this. So I will go ahead and click on the plus sign, create, and I'll head down to that assessment section. Remember last week we talked about tests. Today we'll talk about assignments. So I'll go ahead and click on this and I'm going to do chapter 6 essay. So that will be my assignment for here. Now, when you're doing anonymous grading, this is really for questions that may involve bias. They're not just true or false or those comprehension check type of questions. So for an anonymous assignment, I cannot use one of these. So for example, I'll show you. If I do add multiple choice question, what is 2 plus 2? 3, 4, 1, 2. The correct answer is always 4. So that is an answer that I can prove to be true without any bias. So if I go ahead and save and go to the gear icon, let's scroll down. So on the right here where it says anonymous grading, I can no longer do it because this is a question that does not involve bias. It's just that check type of question. So let me go ahead and edit this. I'll delete this question. And let's say that I want to do an assignment where the students have to write a short answer essay. So I'll go ahead and do add text as my option. Please write an essay about the characters in chapter 4 or chapter 4. There you go. So I'll go ahead and save that. And now you'll see it says allow students to add content at the end of assessment. That is already marked by default, like we went over last week. I can go back to the gear icon. I'll scroll down, and now I can do anonymous grading. So I'll go ahead and click on that, and I'll scroll down and click on save. Now, what you can do with anonymous grading is you can allow students to submit their work without you knowing their name. So for example, since I'm really close with Fatma, if she's my student, I might be like, I'll give her 10 more points. So that's bias for me as the instructor. I want to remove that bias and grade all my student submissions anonymously. So I'll go ahead and make this visible to students. And I will show you what this looks like from the student perspective. So I'll go to my student preview here. And then I'll click on that chapter 6 essay right there as the student. So now I'm a student. I will view my assessment and do it in real time. Okay, so please write an essay about the characters in chapter 4. Now remember, across Blackboard Ultra, if you see this text box or the submission box, remind your students that when they click on it, they will be able to see all of these different functions in the toolbar. So for example, if you want them to upload an assignment, they can also attach a Word document, for example. They can also insert content. For this one, I'll just have my students write in that box. So for example, I thought the character was selfish, and then I'll give my reasons there, reasons, etc. I'll go ahead and click on submit. So this is as the student. Now I will go back to the instructor view. So let me close this. And I'll go to my gradebook now. So in my gradebook, remember you can move this to either list view or grid view. I'll do list view for this one. And I'll click right here, my chapter 6 essay example. And right here, you see it says anonymous students. So when I click on that, I'm able to see the assignment content was please write an essay about the characters in chapter 4. I see my student submission. That is what I just did right now under my student preview account. And I'll write some feedback. Please review pages 19 through 20. And I'll click on save. I'll give my score, let's say 90. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and just finish this. Now, when I go ahead and post all the grades, that is when I will be able to see which student this is. So with this anonymous grading as an instructor, it really removes that bias that you may have. So I'll go ahead and click on post all grades. And now after I posted it, I can see that that was the preview user or me or your student. So now you will see their names after you post those grades, right? Any questions about this anonymous grading feature so far? Let me check the chat box. Thank you, Fatma. Okay, so I'll go ahead and move on to the next section, which is all about that parallel grading or having two graders.
Excuse me,
Yes.
I think I saw F. Denise Gibson had their hand raised. So.
Oh yes, thank you.
Sorry.
I missed that. Okay, Denise, go ahead.
I'm sorry if I did, it was a mistake. I was following right along. It was great. Let me see what I did. Okay, thanks. I apologize.
No problem. I love that. Look at that. Thank you, Helene. Thank you, Denise. Okay, so let me go ahead and move on to the next section, which is all about 2 graders per student. Now, if you look at my PowerPoint, there are 2 things here I really want to highlight. So the first one is 2 graders per student. You may know this as parallel or blind grading, where the instructor acts as a reconciler. There's also something different called peer review. So for this next section, Fatma will be my volunteer, talking about the 2 graders per student. This is really that parallel and blind grading. So let me go ahead and show you my Blackboard again and go to my content and right here. So for this one, I chose anonymous grading, but I'm going to change it. Denise, go ahead. And just
Okay,
unmute.
I call
Uh-huh.
myself unraising my hand, okay? So, okay, we're gonna leave it, so I'm not doing anything else now. I'm just gonna listen, okay?
No, that is, you don't even have to raise your hand. You can just unmute.
Okay,
That's
great,
completely fine.
perfect. Thanks.
Thank you. So if I go back to my gear icon, I'm going to change this from anonymous grading to 2 graders per student. So actually, I will do a whole nother assignment. So I'll go ahead and go to create, assignment, and let's do this one as 2 graders per student example. So I'll go ahead and go right here. I'll add my text. Please write about your day. There's an example. Easy one. I'll go to my gear icon. And right here, when I scroll down, let's go to 2 graders per student. And let's see what that looks like and what they can do. So if I click on this, you'll see a little pop-up that says assign graders. Let me go ahead and click on that. And you'll see my example class. So this is our HighFlex pilot training class that we will be using in this example. As you can see, all the reconcilers by default, these are the instructors for the course. Now in this example, I'm going to make them graders. So what I'll do is I'll unassign everyone here besides myself. So just imagine these are your students and you will make your students your graders. So if I click on train 14, which is Fatma, I will make her a grader. I'll make my test account a grader and I'll make Dr. Moore a grader. So what that means is that 2 students will grade another student's submission. They are graders. Now, this is different than the peer review, which I'll go over in just a bit, because this is all anonymous for the student that will receive that grade. So these 2 graders will see the submission, they'll be able to give a grade and also add feedback. So if you give your students a set of criteria that they can look at these submissions by, they're able to give that grade. So I'll go ahead and click on save. And I'll save this and I will go ahead and open this so it's visible to students. Now we'll switch views. Fatma is going to show her desktop screen as the grader for this submission. So before I do that, I will go back into my student preview. And then I will submit an assignment here. So that 2 grader per student example. I really want to go to the beach. Okay, so that is about my day. I'll go ahead and submit that. So now what Fatma will do is, because she's one of the graders that I assigned for this, she'll go ahead and share her screen and then show this. Take it away, Fatma.
Here we go. I logged into the same course and I'm just going to refresh it. And then I will go to 2 grader per student. And I saw the submission that David submit. So I will click submission and I will click attempt. And then I will be able to view, I really wanted to go to the beach. And I will say, you deserve it. And I will give him a grade. And I will click save. And that's it. Anything else, David, I should do from my side? Hello? David?
Here I am, I was on mute. Yeah, that was perfect. So thank you so much. Usually I'm the one who's saying you're on mute, you need to unmute yourself. There you go, all right. Okay, so I will go ahead and share my screen here. So now if you look at my screen as the instructor, I'll go ahead and go back to this course. Remember, Fatma is one of the 2 graders for this. So the 2 graders per student example. If I go back to my gradebook, I'll see right here. And look right here. So this is a big thing as an instructor. You are the reconciler. The reconciler will see these 2 grades that other students have submitted about that submitted piece, and then you're able to reconcile and add your own grade. So let's go to that and see what it looks like. So let me go to this one attempt to reconcile, click on that. Okay, so now you can see And let's see if this loads. Just a second. Okay, so now you should be able to see that both Train 14, which is Fatma right now, and Dr. Moore can give this a grade. So I can see right here, if I click, I will be able to see Fatma's feedback. And then I should be able to see her grade right there. It's okay right now, it's not showing. But if that was a 100 out of 100 grade, and then Dr. Moore gave a 90 out of 100, so I'll just write this in right here. As the instructor, I'm able to reconcile this. So I'll look at both of their feedback, then I can see which feedback I agree with, and maybe I want to give a 95 as the reconciled grade. So let me go ahead and do that. So I'll put 95. I can also choose what kind of feedback I want to include on this. So for example, if I want to include this feedback or write my own, right? I agree that you deserve.
Or you can use the audio and video features.
That is great, right? So if I go right here and click on insert content and a recording, right? So I'm able to also add that recording as the feedback. Right? Click on save. And now when I post these grades and submit it, then the student will be able to see just my feedback. So as an instructor, you're able to really help your students develop this process of seeing what the other students have submitted and then give grades based on the criteria that you give them. They can also give feedback. So this is a very useful tool if you have any kind of assignment that's a little bit more thorough. You can have your students grade each other, but then you as the reconciler have the power to choose and choose what feedback to put, also what grade to give them. Right? So I know that was a mouthful. Are there any questions I can answer? Or is anyone using this currently, this 2 grader per student example?
Hi, Dave. This is
Hello, Helene. And just unmute yourself.
I
Thank
put
you.
on my video and then I muted myself. You know, I've been doing peer reviews, but I've been doing them in the discussion board area. So I didn't even notice that there's a peer review feature on assignments. But you know, up to this point, I've been just telling students post your assignments in the discussion board, and then 2 students should respond to you. And it's been working, but I guess my question is, so with this, you're actually assigning students to do the peer reviews with this feature. Because that's the thing I don't have any control over right now in the discussion board. You know, it's just like, it's out there, go pick the one you're going to do. But in this case, I can actually assign students per assignment for how they're going to review it. And I imagine that, you know, everything else works the same. The feedback could be however you want the feedback to be. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, so the difference though with this one, this 2 grader per student, or let's call it parallel grading. The difference with this parallel grading is that the student doesn't see the feedback from the students. As the reconciler, as the instructor, you're able to choose what feedback you want to present them. So it's anonymous for the student that receives that final grade.
But they don't see any, like the comments? Does the student not see the comments from the 2 other graders?
That's a great question. So I'll segue into my next one, which is about the peer review grading, right? So some examples I've seen, and Helene, thank you so much for bringing that up. Some examples I've seen of this 2 grader per student example. Let's say I have 3 or 4 teams in my class that are all doing different subjects, and they're in groups of 3, for example. Now, I don't want the 2 graders per student to grade someone's work from their own group, right, from that team. So maybe I can assign them to a different team's concept or subject. So that's a way you can keep things more equalized and balanced, right? Okay, so let's go to our peer review example. So I'll go back to my content as the instructor. And let me do the peer review example. So I'll do another assignment. And I'll say this is peer review. And then I'll do another text. Tell me about your favorite place. I think I have the beach on my mind today. So I'll go to the gear icon again, and I'll scroll down. So we have this peer review option right here. So we remember we have the evaluation options. 2 graders per student, you will act as the reconciler, as the instructor, and that's anonymous. But peer review is when they can see each other's feedback, just like what Helene was talking about with the discussion board. So let me go ahead and click on select peer settings. So I'm able to choose how many peer reviews per student that I want them to do. So I can have them do 1, 2, or 3. So I'll leave it as 3 right here. Now you'll see right here, it says in student view, names don't appear on submissions and reviews. Late reviews are accepted. So this is a way that they can also blind review each other. So if Fatma were to submit a document or an assignment, other students can do a review about her document without seeing her name, Fatma, there. So we have the assessment due date is on the 10th at 12 a.m. Their peer review date must come after the assessment due date. The review process starts immediately after the assessment due date. So let me put that as the 12th, and I'll also do 12 a.m. for that. Let me click on 12 a.m. right there. Got it, and I'll click on save. Now what this does, it allows students to review 3 submissions from their peers. So I'll go ahead and put this visible to students. Click on that, I'll do a student preview. And then as a student preview, let me go ahead and do this. I love the Grand Canyon. Okay, and I'll go ahead and submit that. Now, one thing I want to point out, this is the student view, correct? So when they submit it, they just click submit, but they'll also see these assigned peer reviews. It says you can review your peer submissions and provide feedback after the 10th. So go ahead and clear that and submit. So once everyone has submitted by the 10th, then they'll be able to review 3 of their peers as well, right? Any questions about this?
I just want to say it's a great tool that Blackboard Ultra added it.
Yep.
I think they added it either 2 months ago or 1 month. I would say it's 2 months ago. And it really, for your point, Dr. Helene, that we posted the peer review post on the discussion board. Maybe you don't want them to see each other's papers. So this would be perfect. And organize it in a way that they will know who they're going to peer review if you have more than 15 students in the class.
You got it. So I want to show an example of what this looks like. So if you look at this image right here, this is the submission, right? So I'm able to see, this is me as the student, I'm able to see the feedback from my peers. So right here on the side, right, I can see feedback from Prashant and Antoine about my submission. Right, so that's a really good way for the peers to interact with each other about a particular assignment, right? Helene, if you don't mind, if I can ask you a question, pick your brain.
Sure.
What kind of assignments would you use peer reviews with, or have you used?
I use it
reviews
all the
with?
time with essays, all assignments. Before a student submits the assignment, I ask them to post it in the discussion board and then have a conversation about it with their peers. So it's kind of like, you know, parent share kind of stuff. And they're supposed to review at least 2 other papers. What I like about this is it's all in one place, you know, because right now I have like an assignment and the discussion board, and, you know, I put them into the same learning module, but, you know, what I'm seeing here is somehow it seems all way more interconnected, which is a nice feature.
And
That's a
we're
nice
more
feature.
than
Yeah,
happy-
Fatma?
Yeah, no, I'm saying we're more than happy to assist you in starting, like trying it and implementing it. And then maybe we take this for other faculty as a see what do you think about it, whether it worked for you and whether it's confusing, and we post it for our newsletter. That would be because this is really all new.
Yeah, I see. It's new. I mean, this isn't something we covered in the summer, right? Because it wasn't there.
No.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. See, it's good.
But
Yeah, and
the
Helene,
question here, I'm sorry,
yeah,
Dave.
go ahead, Fatma.
The question here, sometimes I feel we don't want to add a lot for OTC, more tools, and you know, so because it's getting long. So these are more dig deep into it and providing like resource for the faculty for recording and webinars. That would maybe the best? What do you think?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's kind of like you could kind of do like here's how we did it before this tool, here's how we're doing it now with this tool, and some of the advantages of this new tool, the before and the after. So yeah.
Definitely. And Helene, and for anyone else here, we'd love to work with you one-on-one as well. One of the things that really I like about this feature too is you can give a rubric to the students where they can base their feedback and criteria off of. Right?
Yeah, I actually do have a discussion board rubric for peer reviews, so
Awesome.
it's already in my rubric list, of the
We need
rubrics.
to have a workshop or something with you, Helene, right? Going over all of this. That'd be
No,
wonderful.
seriously, it would be good to see
Yeah.
how these things are actually, these tools are actually being utilized in people's classes, beyond just the rudimentary, here's how you do it, but again, here's how faculty are now using it to do the stuff we used to do differently. So it'd be
Definitely.
interesting to see that. Yeah.
Thank you, Helene.
Mhm.
Excellent. So just to review what we covered so far, we talked about anonymous grading. So just a quick review of all of these different things. Remember, these are built into Blackboard Ultra to really remove that bias, either as an instructor or for our students. So with anonymous grading, if they do submit something, you will be able to see the submissions without the student's name. Once you post the grades, you're able to see all the student names. We have 2 graders per student. Remember, that's also known as parallel or blind grading, where you as the instructor act as that reconciler. So you can adjust the grade and also choose what feedback to show the student after you press submit. And then we also have the peer review, which is just what we went over. You can assign your students to review up to 1 through 10 different submissions, also give feedback, and then the students are able to see the feedback, just like we saw in that screenshot, right? So really nice options here for anonymous grading and peer review. Okay, so moving on, I do want to talk about SafeAssign. Now, what is SafeAssign? This really is a plagiarism checker that checks for originality in your classes. So as you see right here, when you click on the gear icon, you're able to turn this on and off. We do recommend if you have anything with an essay or submitted work, go ahead and turn that on. So when you do click that, you'll see right here, this check mark. And then you want to check allow students to view the SafeAssign originality report for their attempts. Keep this on. As a best practice, it's really good for the students to see their originality report. You can also do something quite simple at the beginning. Let's say you want them to talk about where they live or a quick report about something that they learned over the winter break. You can go ahead and have that as a sample assignment, enable SafeAssign, and that way they can see exactly how this works. So I want to show you an example screenshot here. So the green check appears when SafeAssign has reviewed the submission. Usually this is quite quick. When you click on that green check, it will take you to the originality report screen. So in this example, we have Julian King, which is the preview user. The check mark is checked right there. That green check will take you to the originality report screen. Here's an example. So for everyone here, if we look at this section, what do you notice about this originality report? About the student's work?
Do you want us to answer?
Yeah,
Or is
please.
that a rhetorical question?
This is the interactive part of the workshop.
It's actually, to be quite honest, David, it's really hard to see from here.
Okay.
It's very tiny and very faint on my screen. I don't know what it's like for others, so I'm squinting.
Can you
David,
change the view options on Zoom?
I'll try to do that.
Go to the
David?
upper right corner. There's like a grid view, and then you should be able to change the view option.
Okay.
Denise, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I'm saying that it has a high match quantity to it of 94%. Is that what it's supposed to say?
Yes. So do you think that this is original work by the student or they copied and pasted?
So I was going to ask. So in another institution, we use turnitin.com, and they actually say that that's what that means. I didn't know if this, I was going to ask you, is that what this is saying? Is that it matches other sources, and so therefore it's not original work?
Exactly. So this is very similar to Turnitin, except it's
Okay.
already built into Blackboard, this SafeAssign.
Okay, so I would like to ask a question. I
Yep.
am actually preparing my students to work on their final project, which is going to be a research project.
Mhm.
And so, for example, this week they are learning how to use the library and learning how to use scholarly peer-reviewed art, how to find scholarly peer-reviewed articles. So, when you say that to give them an activity to teach them how to use this, so that they recognize that this is going to be turned on, and teach them how to use this. Is there something that you already have prepared that we could use, or is there something that you suggest?
Yeah, as a suggestion, you can do a sample assignment, and that can really teach them how to cite their sources correctly, right? So in this one, I can see that they have cited the source, but let's say they didn't cite the source, then that would
Right.
be plagiarism, right? Copy and paste. So you can do an example, quick assignment for your students. I love that. Helene, did that help you with the view?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little embarrassed now. I kind of
no.
knew that.
No problem. That happens all the time.
But I just have a question about
Yeah.
SafeAssign.
Mhm.
I have students doing revisions of the same papers, and when they do that, would the SafeAssign originality report come back like 100% because that their paper's already there? In some ways, I've kind of found that. I mean, this actually, I'm thinking this was something that was a problem from the past, not necessarily this semester. But what about when students are turning in revisions of papers they've submitted before? Would that come back as 100%?
You can do that as a different attempt, right? So when they have that different attempt to upload it, it can be the revised version. And
Yeah,
it'll do another scan.
I mean, like in whatever the SafeAssign, whatever it's called, the database or wherever they keep the papers that they're comparing their papers to. And it says, it'll say sometimes student work or something. I can't remember what it says, that the source is coming from student work.
Mhm.
And it could be their paper, their very own paper. So they're plagiarizing from themselves in a way. But it's okay for my class because I'm saying, I want you to submit a revision of your paper. So I'm sorry, I'm it's been I'm just again trying to work with SafeAssign. I do have them do SafeAssign, but when it's going back to like a scholarly journal, then I could definitely see that's not their language, and usually I could tell that even before I've looked at the SafeAssign report.
Yep.
But when it's saying student paper as the source of the plagiarism, it could be their very own work. So how do you overcome that? Is there a way of overcoming that?
Yeah, Denise, go ahead.
That is the case in Turnitin.com. In Turnitin.com, you cannot turn it in twice because it does come up as student work. I've had that to come up before.
So the good thing about SafeAssign though, remember it's an originality report, so you can interpret the results, especially if you already know that that's based on the student work. I would love to meet with either of you or both of you to also work through this as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think this is like with SafeAssign, the more that we work through it, we can kind of see what the loopholes are, or if there's any kind of issue there that we can relay back to our students. No. Anything to add, Denise or Helene?
No. I mean, I do have my students, I have in my assignment, whatever, in my syllabus, if an assignment, I've given them a certain number, like 30%. If there's a 30% match or higher, you really need to revise that paper.
Yep.
So I don't know.
I mean, I don't have anything to add. I haven't done it yet. So I haven't done a paper yet. We'll start next week.
Yeah.
I'll show you too. I'm going to put this in the chat box just for reference for everyone. So these are the scores, how they're interpreted by SafeAssign. So as you can see, if it is a score below 15%, these papers do typically include some quotes and few common phrases, but there's probably or no evidence of plagiarism here. Between 15 and 40, these papers include extensive quoted or paraphrased material. Scores over 40 have that really high probability of plagiarism. So you can use that also as a reference point.
Yeah, can I just add one
Yeah.
more thing?
Yes.
You know, like in their works cited part, you know, like
Mhm.
that part comes out as a very high percentage sometimes
Mhm.
because, you know, when they're copying, and I tell them you could, you know, it's okay to copy your
Yep.
references piece from anything really,
Mhm.
as long as it's following the format that we're following, APA. So that tends to really raise the SafeAssign score a lot. And I'm not sure how to kind of block out that section. I mean, I look at it, you know, I do look at
Yep.
those SafeAssign reports, so I can see. So it's not really that big of a problem.
I think this would be a great workshop topic. What do you think, Fatma? Fatma
Sorry,
has,
I was muted.
there you go. Happens to
Yeah,
both of us.
absolutely, absolutely. Whether it's the SafeAssign or the peer review or the parallel grade, that I think that should be separate also workshop to get
Yep.
to dig deeper and also get case studies.
Mhm. Definitely. Thank you, Fatma. Thank you, Helene and Denise. Excellent. So let's go ahead and move on to the next section, which is about types of student submissions. Now, I did go over this just a bit earlier about how to upload video, text, or audio. Remember, across Ultra, we want to remind the students that when they click inside the box, you'll see those editing options and toolbar. So they can go ahead and attach a PDF or a Word document here. Just click on the paperclip icon. They can also upload, record, put audio or text as there as well. If they just simply want to submit, you can go ahead and have them submit in that box, right? A new feature that they just had about a couple weeks ago is the ability to add tables here too. So if they click on that table tool, they're able to add those tables, right? A chart, for example. Any questions about this, types of student submissions? Okay. So let's talk about grading submissions, how to access these, how to filter. You can download all and collect submissions and edit submission settings for an individual. So let me go ahead and show my screen. And for this example, I'm going to use Blackboard Ultra Essentials. Okay, so let's go over how to get and grade these submissions. If I go to the gradebook, remember there are two views. We have the list view and the grid view. So let's say I want to look at the checklist submission assignment. So this view right here, if I go to the very right and click on the three dots, or let's click on here right here. There you go. If I click on this, I can see all of the different grades or what has been submitted. I can also filter top left corner, needs grading. So I have one that I need to grade. And if I go right here, I'm able to edit settings for this individual user. But let me go to this and I can click on download all. So I'm going to put all statuses here. Right side, I'll click on those three dots, the ellipsis, and download all. So what that will do is that will download all these assessment files as a zip file. I can also choose which students I want to see, but for this one, I can just choose all. Create a zip file, send, and there you go. So I'm able to see all of these assignments on my computer. Another way to see this is if I go to the grid view, click on that. I'll go to that assignment again. So checklist submission, if I click on that, you'll see these different functions: edit, post the grades, question analysis. Julia went over that last week in our tests workshop. Download all is also right here. Any questions I can ask or answer about this?
I never saw that download all button before.
Yes, right? So
Uh,
two ways to access it. So you can click on, if you're in the grid view, download all, or list view, click on an assignment. I'll do this one. Once I click on that, you'll see the three dots. You can also download all there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And let's talk about accommodations. Now, right here with accommodations, those are accessibility. So if you look at the image, what do you notice next to Hunter Brown's name? And feel free to unmute if you know.
He's got that little purple ribbon.
You got it. And
he's got accommodation. I have several in my class like that.
Yeah.
What's interesting about that, when you put the accommodations in, on several of my students, when they have that little flag right there, when you go to grade, you don't see their name, you only see the flag.
Yep, that's something that we've relayed to Blackboard as well. That's something that we noticed. Fingers crossed that will be fixed very soon. Yeah, so hopefully if they put their picture, right, you're able to see who it is. But for now, yeah, sometimes that doesn't show. Right? Okay, so let me show you where to find that if you want to look at accommodations. So if I go to my gradebook and my roster, my students right here, I don't have any students with accommodations in this course, but if I wanted to see, they would be with a little purple bookmark right there. I can also click on the actual students, and that will show me if they have accommodations as well. If I click next to their name, those 3 dots, it'll show if any accommodations are for that student too. Okay, rolling along, let's see what's next. So let's conclude with some best practices, and then I'll open up the floor for any questions about assignments. So some best practices here. Number 1, upload Word documents versus typing in an essay question. So that could be a great way you can have your students upload that document from their computer instead of typing that in as an essay question. Limit the number of attempts and take off conditional availability so students can see the feedback and view submissions. There has been an issue when conditional availability is checked where the students cannot see the feedback and then view the submissions. So let's turn that off. We also recommend students watch a video on submitting an assignment on Blackboard Ultra before their final submission. You can remind them that these are under their student resources. There's a video that goes over how to submit an assignment on Blackboard Ultra. Any questions about these 3 best practice considerations? Thank you. So final one, do not put a hide after for availability. So when you set those additional conditions, if you do want to do this, look at that date and time where it says show on 11/3/21 at 3:23 p.m. So my students know that this is when they will see that assignment posted. Now, what I didn't do here though, is I did not choose the hide after date. The reason being is if I put hide after, they're not able to see their submissions. So if I just leave that unchecked, I can still have it automatically open and visible for the students after that show on date, but I just did not check the hide after date. Okay. Does everyone understand that concept or any questions about this?
Fine.
This is Denise.
Hi, Denise.
One of the things I figured out by experience is if you put hide after now, it takes it out of your grade book. So I am a person that, because I teach online, one of the tools I use is availability to manage the assignments. And so I usually show on and hide after. If you put in hide after, it takes it out of the grade book. So I'm not able to hide the assignment. So just want to, I mean, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it absolutely, and I didn't realize it until a student brought it to my attention because they kept seeing the grades going out on their side. So there's something going on. I'm not sure. I've used it for years, show on and hide after. Okay. And the actual content for the course shows on and it keeps staying. But in prior years, I would bring the assignments, the test, and everything out after the due date. But if you but now everything is just out there. So it's been a very challenging semester for me, but that hide after not only hides it from the student,
Mhm.
but it takes it out of gradebook.
Yeah, so do you leave it unchecked now?
Yeah, I have to just leave it open.
Yep, just leave it open,
Yeah.
right?
I just leave
Yeah.
it open. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that we didn't realize either until some professors brought that up to us. Is that correct, Fatma?
Yes, and
Yeah.
the way around it, I would say limit the number of attempt, because even if we left it show on in the course, when the student click on it, they won't be able to submit. They will have only view submission. So
Well,
yeah,
that works fine. Yes, I do limit the attempts, but also what this does is it takes away the capacity to not let students turn in late. So now what's happening is, whereas I would grade all the assignments at one time and be done with it because it's gone away, I'm going back to week one now and grading assignments because people have realized that they didn't do it. So they're going back to week one and doing the assignment now. So as a professor, I'm really at a disadvantage. I got 40 kids doing that online. So I'm gonna take a week and go back and figure out how I'm gonna grade all of these assignments that, we got 16 weeks in the class. And so we're now on week 13 of 12, I think. But I got people now, particularly after I turned in the midterm grades, when they saw that they had all these assignments missing from the midterm grade, they just went back and turned in all the assignments. So it skews the grade, but it also puts me at a disadvantage because I got to figure out that somebody has now gone back to week one and is turning in work. So it's fine if the work is done. They can't change it. But what they can do is I have no control over, my syllabus says I don't take work after the due date, but I have no control because it's open. I have to leave it open.
okay.
I mean, it's no answer. I'm just struggling with it. You don't have to say anything. I'm just struggling with it. I know it's there, but I want to make sure you knew that was an issue.
Yeah, so this is a kind of issue in the design aspect of Blackboard, and we are involved with the advisory program where we tell them how thing doesn't work and how they redesign it better. For example, like the journal, it's not redesigned well, it's not designed well in Ultra. So, and they have been having a lot of update. So for example, if you notice, there's now confirmation whether the students submit their submission or not. So all these updates. So hopefully that will be fixed in the next 4 months.
Yep, and definitely hearing this feedback, when we do workshops or meet with faculty, this is so invaluable because all of you are actually teaching on this platform. So it really helps when we go to those monthly meetings with Blackboard, because sometimes, it's really valuable for them to hear this feedback. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Thank
what
you
is
so
the
much.
workaround? So this is even more important. So thank you for sharing what you're going through.
Yep. Well, for everyone here, you can go ahead and let us know either in the chat box or verbally, what do you want the next webinar to focus on? Right. You can also send us an email. I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat box right now, as well as our professional development website. So I'll go ahead and put that there. So if anything comes to mind, we will be doing more Blackboard focused workshops as well. I think this workshop was great because we can see what we can dive even deeper into next time, right? Yeah, peer review, definitely.
I guess I would like to see how people are using, the new features and, how other faculty are working with Blackboard Ultra. But these are good. I mean, the sessions you've been providing have been really, helpful. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Helene.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Helene. And
Yeah.
also we have a monthly newsletter, and it has at corner, and we make sure it's not only us providing the at corner, and a lot of, not a lot. So far we have 3 faculty provided what they are doing in the class with using Ultra. So make sure to watch out for our newsletter. And if you have any tip or best practices, please share it with us, and we will put it in our newsletter.
Please. Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. Yeah, there was something else I wanted to ask. Just the students' support are, I try to support the students, but at some point I say, please contact the help desk because I'm not sure what the issue is. It could be your computer, it could be your whatever. I just don't always know. It could be their accounts or something. So where do we send students when they need more support? I've just been telling them use the whatever that help desk number is on the institutional page.
Yeah, David, you want me to take that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm
Thank
going to share my screen.
Yes.
Just give me 1 second because this is a really important question, and here we go. When you forget to share your screen, amazing. So sorry, let me go for that. Okay, so Dr. Helene, in Blackboard, when the student, this is the student preview, when the student log in, they can go to that help desk exactly like you said. But again, sometimes I know that the help desk support is not like they're not really like performing at their best, in my opinion. So we give always the student, if they having after the submission here and they still having issues with Blackboard particularly, they can email us calhelpdesk@udc.edu. But it just the difference between what is if it's resetting passwords or issue with the computer, that should go to the ISM, and also the help desk support for the student. But if they couldn't fix it or it took so long, just ask the student to email C.A.L help desk. And we have this information located in every course in the student resource in Ultra orientation.
Thank you. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been telling them. So, I think it's okay so far. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Fatma, since you're on this, do you mind viewing the page as a faculty?
Yeah.
So I just want to let everyone know, if you look under Blackboard announcements at the very top, I always put our upcoming workshops here. So just as a quick review, on Friday, November 12th from 1 to 2, we have a great workshop called Introduction to Qualtrics with Dr. Rebecca Graham and Dr. Kimberly Cruz. So the days before, I do put that register link. On the day of, I'll put the actual Zoom link if you'd like to join. And then next Wednesday on the 17th from 12:30 to 1:30, I have an educational technology workshop about using QR codes in class, which will be quite fun. So that is next Wednesday. You'll also see those two links. You can click there to access our workshop recordings. I will upload these within 48 hours of every workshop. If you click on that, you'll see a playlist of all of our different workshops so far, right?
Oh.
Yeah. And then the other one is if you'd like to sign up for any professional development or office hours, if you click there, you'll see that professional development page, as well as our CAL office hours at the very top. Right?
Great.
But yes, if you want to subscribe to our YouTube, make us YouTube famous. We would love that, right? There you go. So we have all of our different sessions right here. Right? Any final questions I can answer before we say goodbye? Thank you, Fatma. Well, for everyone here, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for the great participation. Excellent questions. I appreciate that. I know it's getting colder, right? It's fall, but
It's
stay warm.
beautiful outside. You
It
should
is
step
beautiful.
outside. You are competing with the most gorgeous autumn day we've ever had. It's like
That's
60
true.
something degrees there. The leaves are at their peak. Forget the beach, just go out, take a walk in the park.
You know,
I'm sorry.
go ahead, Fatma.
No, I sent message to my husband, said it's our anniversary today and I had to come here. So I was like, come to DC, let's go for a walk.
Happy anniversary to you and your husband.
Happy anniversary.
Yes, and
Happy
thank you for
anniversary.
joining. Thank you for joining us with this Blackboard Assignments workshop.
Take that walk in the park. Believe me.
You know, Helene, I was going to say, so I'm a transplant from San Diego. So I went
Okay.
to Shenandoah a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, just locally, you should go to have you been to Great Falls yet?
Yes, Great Falls.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even Rock Creek Park right now is
Well,
really beautiful.
Rock Creek Park's like my backyard these days. So, I
Oh
mean,
my
that's like
gosh.
every day, something with Rock Creek Park. So
That
yeah.
is so nice.
And it's perfect. This is it. This is the peak. I think today, maybe tomorrow, but today, beautiful day.
Yeah.
Like I
Hey,
said,
David.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous day. Rock Creek Park is my backyard as well. So yeah, it's gorgeous. The dog and I will be out as soon as we finish this.
Perfect. And Pat, anything to add?
I was going to add to what Helene said. I agree. As you know, I'm from this area, and so she's right. This weather is awesome. When I was a kid, it was always cold and snowing, and you just never know how the weather's going to be around this time. But times have changed, and this is a great day to get out because the sun is shining. I mean, it's beautiful.
Perfect.
So I agree.
Yeah.
And
Pat,
everybody knows
just-
Pat?
Yeah, Pat, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Oh,
I met Pat yesterday.
yes, me and Helene met yesterday.
Mhm.
But for those who, sorry, you can't see me too good. I'm whatever. But so I'm Pat Cottrell. This is my second week here. Great workshop, David.
Thank you.
So I'm just still learning. I'm the education technology specialist, working closely with Fatma on enhancing what we already have and adding to what we already have from a technology perspective. And I'll also be supporting Blackboard as well. So nice to meet everyone, and feel free to stop by and say hi. I'm right around the corner from Fatma, 6128. So feel free to say hi, introduce yourself. I'll love to meet you.
Definitely. Thank you, Pat. I know I put you on the
Welcome,
spot.
Pat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, for everyone here, it has been a pleasure. It is a gorgeous day, so I'm going to turn this off and take a walk outside.
Take a walk.
And happy anniversary, Fatma.
Thank you.
So have a good day, everyone. Please stay safe, and I will see you very soon.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you so much. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.